Welcome to The Sage Gardener with Dave Hanson.
Hi, I'm Dave from Sage Garden. It's spring somewhere around Manitoba, at least inside our greenhouses, and I wanted to talk about seed starting. It's such an exciting process, but it's one where people have a lot of questions around timing, what seeds they can start early, what seeds to wait and direct seed into the garden, and just sort of avoid some of the common pitfalls. So I want to show you how easy it is, but I'm going to talk about some of the variables that can really influence how it goes well or doesn't go well. First thing, you want to match the seeds to the available conditions. So if you have a nice sunny window, that's great, but if your seed's starting early, like say in January, February, say you're starting some of the perennial varieties like lavender could be grown from seed, or some of the other perennial herbs like oregano. If you're starting those really early, you probably do need some supplemental lighting. So if you don't want to get into that, the easy thing is to wait until April, early May, and you can start all of your easy annual herbs and lettuces and vegetables and things like that without any kind of supplemental gear. But if you do want to get that head start, don't forget about lights. It's very important. The other thing that's really, really important at the seed starting stage is you want to develop an excellent root system. That's the basis of a healthy plant. And so there's a few things that I can show you to get the seeds off to a great start. First things first, you want to think about the soil. And a good healthy soil has more than just peat moss in it. It's going to have compost and other kinds of nutrients, trace minerals, and even some of the enzymes that you can find in worm castings and things like that to really help those roots get off to a strong start. Another thing we do at Sage Garden is right from the very first watering, we apply a kelp product called Sea Magic, and this is well proven to encourage strong root development, excellent stem development, and also discourage common diseases such as the damping off disease, where the plants grow up and then they kind of flop over one day. Very disappointing when that happens. This is proven to prevent that in seedlings. So you want to have a great soil. We do use a variety of mixes. There's the seed starting mix like this. Currently on our own production, we use something called Gaia Green Living Soil, which is full of all kinds of trace minerals and things, but we really emphasize a great healthy soil mix. After you've chosen the varieties, you've kind of matched them up to the conditions you have, you want to think about what kind of containers you're going to start in. And of course, we can all think back to being in school and starting in those fiber egg cartons. That works great. In fact, it's a lot like some of the other biodegradable options, such as the peat pellets. The point of those is that you're not going to disturb the root systems when you transplant them. And for many varieties, for example, common flowers such as borage, that's really, really important. So these can work well. You can also choose to use things like some of the more commercial products, like the little plug tray units like this. And the advantage of these is that you can start lots of seeds in a small space. They're generally reusable, and these days they're recyclable. And you get a really nice solid plug that you can then easily transplant on. But it's not as well suited for some of those flowers like calendula, borage, and any of your taproot type things, for sure, like carrots. They don't like to be in plug trays like this. Another thing that we often use is just small biodegradable pots. These are made out of coconut coir. And at Sage Garden, because we emphasize root development, we do actually use a plastic pot for some varieties, and we direct seed, this is called a Malabar spinach, right into the container. And these long channeled root systems, or these long channeled pots, develop a very, very strong, healthy root system. So depending on the variety, you want to choose a slightly different kind of a container. Very important. Another sort of easy step that's easy to overlook is labeling them. So just make sure you have some labels handy. Pencil works the best for writing on plastic, so that's a little tip. You can always erase it afterwards, and you can make use of these a few different times, but do label your seedlings. So those are some of the basic things. Timing, ensuring you have enough light. So if it's early in the season, lights might be important, a bright sunny windowsill, or even waiting until April, May to do some direct seeding out in the garden, choosing a great healthy soil and the right kind of container for the seeds you're starting. If you have more questions, we have a variety of seed starting articles on our website, and you can always check us out at the greenhouse. We'd be happy to help out. So I'm just going to show how really easy it is to start these seeds. I've got my plug tray here. Because we're in the greenhouse setting and we want to grow lots of this plant, it's going to be some lime basil. We're using a 72 cell plug tray, plastic plug tray. I'm using our Gaia Green Living Soil Blend, which has worm castings, it has green sand, it has all kinds of trace minerals and great things in it. We found it to be very, very good for seed starting. And it's mid-April, so it's a good time to be starting these basil seeds. So I'm just going to fill up my plug tray a little bit here. And one thing that's important to remember is that it's hard to really mess up when you're getting your seeds in there. You don't have to think too much about how deep they're going to be. You just want to kind of fill your tray. Remember, the soil's going to settle a little bit, so fill it kind of high. If your soil's quite dried out, it's not a bad idea to pre-moisten it. Grab your seeds, and by the way, seed packets almost always have more seeds than you need for 1 year, and many of them will keep year to year. So if you ever have questions about that, we can give you a list. But take your little basil seeds, and in a cell pack like this, we usually put 5 to 6 seedlings, and that grows into a nice little grouping. And we make what's called a dibble, so we just make a little indentation in the center of the cell, and we just sprinkle our seeds in. So I'm putting approximately 6 seeds per cell. And so I'll just do a 6-pack there. And once we're done, I'll put any excess seeds back in here. I'm just going to set this aside. I just cover it over with my hand like that. I'm going to label these, water it in with the Sea Magic, the first water, and we're done. Happy gardening.
Find us online at herbs.mb.ca or visit us down at the greenhouse, 3410 St. Mary's Road in Winnipeg.